Welcome back to my channel, In-Flight Music. If you're new here, my name is Ian, and today we're going to be continuing my coloration plugin series, and we are looking at Cassette by Wavesfactory. So in my last tutorial, I went over a tape emulation plugin called Reels by AudioThing, but this plugin is also a tape plugin, but it's specifically emulating cassette tape. Right here I have the same piano loaded up from my last tutorial, Tape Piano. Again, if you want to see a full tutorial on tape piano, definitely comment down below and I will get that done for you. So with the default setting, you could hear this hiss come in, which is getting ducked anytime that the key isn't being played. So right now you can't hear any of the hiss, but as soon as I hit a key, the hiss comes in. But just like in my tape saturation tutorial, I always recommend looking at the input knob before you go into anything else, because depending on how hard you drive this signal, you'll end up getting more or less of the effect that you're going for. So let's go ahead and take a listen while we change the input. So you could hear this increase into this signal. The overall piano got much warmer. And then when you decrease the input, you're hearing more of the noise and less of the piano. But you could also control the level of the noise as well. And you would do that in this section right here where it says static. You could just turn this down. So now let's take a look at the main section of this plugin. So this is their default cassette, type 1, normal bias. This one says type 2. Let's go ahead and listen to what this sounds like. Versus. Brightens up a little bit. Here's the next one. Definitely more saturation on this one. Definitely a whole nother sound here. So those are the 4 tape types, but right here you also have 3 different versions of each of those tape types. So we're listening to Pro, which is the highest quality of all of those. So these will degrade as we go from Pro to Home to Micro. Let's go ahead and listen to the 3 different versions for each of these different tapes. But then you could degrade it even further with these macro knobs down here. And there's a reason why I call them macros, and you'll see here in a second. So here with erasures, this basically recreates the effect of how many times you reused a tape. Back in the day, people used to re-record over their cassette tapes, and every time you would make a new recording over an old recording, the quality of the tape would degrade. This is what that's replicating. Let's go ahead and take a listen. You could hear it sounds a lot thicker. It actually adds some warmth to the track for sure. Let's take this down to micro. So yeah, erasures combined with the micro setting actually warms up the micro pretty well. Spread is literally the stereo spread. Stability is the wow and flutter effects that you're hearing. So as we increase this, the tape will become more stable, so higher quality. But if we decrease the stability, then we'll hear the full wow and flutter effect. versus perfect quality here. We already went over noise, and then artifacts are the random dropouts, clicks, pops, stuff like that. So the reason why I was calling these macro knobs, if you go into this cog icon, you can pull up the actual settings for each of those knobs. So here at the top left, you can see we have the option to turn on frequency response, saturation compression, noise auto mute, and oversampling. So all this is turned on automatically. So you can get rid of the compression, the saturation, any of those things. But here with wow and flutter, this is specifically referring to the stability knob right here. And then you have flutter, which makes the pitch literally flutter at a faster rate than the wow. So the pitch will modulate up and down a lot faster. And then you can increase the rate of that as well. What I really like about this wow and flutter, you can actually change the randomness of the wow and flutter as well. Some plugins are only using like an LFO, so the wow and flutter is more consistent, but that's usually not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for more randomness. Right now it's set at 25%. This section right here isn't referring to any of those knobs down at the bottom, but they do affect the sound. So crosstalk, I talked about this in the tape tutorial. This literally lets the left signal go into the right signal and vice versa. So the less crosstalk, the wider the signal, the more mono. Azimuth is reflecting the playhead being played at an angle on top of the tape. You'll start hearing more of the signal on the left side or the right side. There we go, right there. I noticed that in smaller amounts, like 4 or 5% on the left side or the right side, that really gets it to move over to the left or right. Intermodulation, this could subtly create a gluing effect. The recassette setting is literally chaining multiple cassette plugins in a row. So right now we have 1. If we increase this to 2, it'll be double the plugin. Goes all the way up to 5. Never mind, it goes all the way up to 4. With the degradation depth and rate, you'll be able to hear the high-end frequency kind of disappear in and out. So the depth will be how much of that high frequency gets taken out, and the rate is how often. Dropouts are referring to the overall volume level of the sound. Random snap is controlling the effect of that sound that you hear when the tape kind of restarts itself. Now I'm just going to go through some of the presets and just let you guys listen to what these various presets sound like on this piano. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below, like if you like the video, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.